Hello and welcome to Beyond the Blind, where we'll talk about everything from hunting tips and techniques to wild stories that only come from time spent outdoors. So grab your gear, tune in, and get ready for the podcast that takes you beyond the blind. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Blind. I'm Pat, your host, here with my beautiful co-host Kelley, and today we're going to be talking about choosing the right cartridge for deer hunting. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of good information out there. And I think honestly that these are all just my personal opinions. Do with them what you want. But I've been hunting for 30 some odd years. I've shot just about every cartridge out there. I've killed big game or medium-sized game with all the cartridges that I'm going to talk about, and we're going to just kind of discuss. Me and Kelley are going to kind of discuss, um, you know, what we think of each one.
But first, it was Valentine's Day.
It was Valentine's Day,
And I got you what I think is the best man gift. And I sent some to your office and then got you more to send at home.
yeah, and it is who makes that?
The Manly Man Company.
Manly Man Company, and it is a bouquet of
beef jerky
flowers that comes in a beer stein.
The beer stein went to your work. The cup came to this one. But I'm showing it on the tiki-talkie right now.
Don't forget our friends in YouTube land.
I don't know how to do that.
Yep, that's good. But it is awesome. Everybody at work absolutely loved it. I think it's a great idea. I don't know why I can't come up with ideas like this because it is fantastic. And then there's also a little...
for home, I ordered, they have meat hearts, like sweethearts, like the Valentine's candy. And the plain one said, like, meet me. And then I think one said, I love you. I mean, they're very cute and reminiscent of what they say on the sweetheart candy. And then there was a spicy one that I ordered, and it came with two. And it was spicy beef jerky, and it said, like, it had a devil, little cute cartoon devil, which I don't know if I can. But it also said, sexy, wild, and eat me.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And then they had a beef jerky card, and I'm just going to show. And I ordered this for home and at work, but okay.
That's the meat card.
I love your meat. I just thought it was funny.
It was awesome. Yeah, everybody loved it. It was the hit of the office.
And it's good beef jerky. So we're not sponsored. We're not doing anything, and they don't need any help. They were sold out of a bunch of their stuff, and I waited too long to order. But
ladies, if you want an idea for next year for your man, that is it.
Or birthday. And they have bacon bouquets and different flavors for the, I don't know, it was good. And the beef jerky is good.
It was awesome.
And anyway.
So, yeah, thank you for that. I really appreciated it. And mine was a little bit more traditional. I just got you flowers and a card. But all my cards are typically really heartfelt.
They are. The flowers are really pretty too.
I think they've gotten better over the years.
Mm-hmm. Like you love me now.
I do love you.
So.
I love you very much. All right. So, unfortunately, we had two guests lined up, and neither one of them were able to make it. And I understand.
Two sets.
Two sets, yep. Cody and Danielle are still really busy with work, trying to get caught up on cutting and processing all the meat or all the deer that they had come in this year. And then Brad Peaks with Top Notch Carvings. He was going to be here as well to kind of fill in, but he's about like me when it comes to remembering things. And right. And so he forgot he had dinner plans tonight. So he was unable to make it. So tonight we will be just kind of, this is discussing, deer cartridges. I think that Kelley acts like she doesn't know what she's talking about, but it
Well,
does matter because she can shoot.
it does, but I don't have to know what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm going to take care of you.
Right. And I know what goes in my gun, my
Right.
rifle.
Yep.
And it just...
You do. But we're going to talk about,
And whatever I've used, I've dropped them.
That's right. Because it's all about shot placement.
Yeah. And what my Christensen
Mm-hmm.
is a...
6.5 Creedmoor.
Which
what?
dropped it.
Yeah. But, I mean, you shot 243 too.
Yeah.
You dropped with that.
I just mean, you
But
can't...
I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some factors to consider in a hunting rifle. And some of those are really kind of where you live, where you're hunting, what you're hunting. Now, for deer in Alabama, most of your shots aren't going to be over 200 yards. They're not. I mean, unless you're sitting on a power line or you've got just a ton of land with huge open pastures, you're not going to be having to take over a 200-yard shot. So there's a lot of things to consider with that. I think that most people really, I mean, a 308, and that's my cartridge of choice, is perfect for that. It's not too fast. I run a 168 grain Federal. Now I shoot something different. I shoot match grade bullets when I kill deer. But that's just me. Shot placement, and every deer that I've shot for the past, I don't know, 15 years is dropped on the spot. So, but 243 is another great round to think about. Kelley, you started with a 243.
My Muddy Girl.
Your Muddy Girl. Your Savage Muddy Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love her.
Yeah, it's a great gun. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Because you went out and bought that and brought it home before
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, you did. Because I was like, why would you get that?
Was it from Nick?
No, it was right when we got back from San Diego. I hadn't even started working at the first place yet.
You can say it.
I don't want to say it.
Okay.
I'd rather not give
It's fine.
promotion. But
There's no hard feelings. Things happen the way they're supposed to.
yeah, that's right.
So.
But no, you got it before you bought it at Dick's. And then I started working there
At HDC.
yeah, like 3 weeks later. And then we went out and shot it. And
Shot placement, man. It's just
it wasn't shooting good to start with.
Well, you sighted it.
Well, no. They were supposed to tighten down all the rings and the bases and everything. They didn't do it before you left the store. So when we went to the range, not doing what I was supposed to do and checking their work, didn't realize that they hadn't tightened all that down, so I had to pull it all off and tighten everything down and then resight it.
While we're live and filming and recording, can I tell you something?
What?
I got the M400.
Okay. Awesome. Because that's what we need. Is another AR.
It's the Rose, though.
I understand that.
And it wasn't, the cost was not what you said you thought it was going to be. It was less. It wasn't more. It was
like
less.
$100 less?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Even with taxes and shipping, it was still more than $250 less than what you said.
Okay. Well, I guess that's not bad.
Sorry for the interruption. I just needed to get that off my chest.
That's okay.
Okay, go ahead. My Muddy Girl.
Your Muddy Girl.
And you had to take everything off and tighten.
Had to take everything off and tighten it all down and resight it in. But the factory ammo, we were shooting out of it, and I don't remember what it was, but it was doing really well. It was getting probably 3/4 inch to an inch group, and then when I reloaded for it, we ended up getting a 1/2 inch out of that gun, which was fantastic. And that was with that factory. I love Savage, but for their entry-level guns, and I get it, like it's an entry-level gun, but at least do like a brand name, like Vortex or something like that. You don't have to go to a $50 scope for an entry level gun.
Yeah, but if it's an entry level, you're a beginner. You're not putting high dollar things on it because the idea, and this is, I'm just comparing it to other entry level things, is as you get better,
Yeah,
you
you'll
invest
upgrade it.
more in a gun, and then as you improve, you're investing more, and then you want the better things. Because do you need the $3,500 scope on
Well,
a
definitely not,
$200
but
rifle?
I mean, do I? Yeah. I mean, but
But you're not shooting a $200 rifle.
I'm not.
So,
But,
but for someone who's getting introduced,
right.
like me,
But
where I was more worried about wanting pink on the gun than
right. And you do. You want pink on everything
or purple.
or purple.
I do want. Yeah, I'm still a girl. I don't need to. That's I want Alabama. I want blaze pink. If you don't know what blaze pink is, if someone tries to sell you Muddy Girl when you're looking for blaze pink, you don't need to be in the woods anyway. And I want Alabama to approve. You can see blaze pink better than you can see blaze orange in the woods.
Maybe
And
we
I
can
think it
push
should
that.
be approved. Sorry, tangent.
That's okay. The the thing about it is though, 308, 243, really for anything in Alabama is perfect because again, you're not shooting super far, and if you were, both those cartridges can handle it easily without a lot of drop. Um, but if and that's what we do mainly is stand hunt. We're not stalking. We're stand hunting, and
And I'll tell you, I won't stalk. I want to be in a shooting house with my two heaters and space for my. I want to be comfortable.
yeah,
I don't need a bed and a toilet. I'm not like, but I'm bougie.
yeah, you are
And I want to be. I mean, yeah, you can dress for the cold. I want to be warm. And I want to be protected from the elements.
yeah.
And because I know I'm going to stay out longer.
Hmm.
And a shooting house does limit some of the sounds.
Right.
But
But you know, if you're stalk hunting, you're not going to be, you don't really need those two rifles. You're going to look at more of like a 30-30 or a 45-70, something like that, because you're not going to be taking that far of a shot. And you're going to throw a big piece of lead at them. But, you know, some of the classics out there, um, 30-30, perfect for stalk hunting. And stand hunting too, really. But I think that under that 200-yard mark is where you're going to want to be with a 30-30. 270, 30-06, great rounds. Both of them are both of them have dropped tons of deer across this country, all across the country, for a very, very, very long time. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with them. There's a lot of people that think that those are outdated um, because everybody is coming out with some Wildcat cartridge saying it's the next greatest thing out there. But I mean, if you're just getting into hunting, a 270, 30-06 for stand hunting are perfect. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Um, there are other rounds out there that are a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier to find rounds for, but those two, I mean, you're not going to be able to not find that ammo. Now, if it turns into a 2020 situation again, 2021, then it's going to be hard to find because everybody has those rounds or everybody has those guns, so the rounds are going to be a little bit harder to find. Um, but hopefully they've adjusted for that for future if something happens like the pandemic again. Um, again, 243, and that's been the youth go-to for a very long time. 708 as well. And
why it gotta
I
be
say
youth?
youth, it's more for recoil, right? Because that gun does not.
Small framed individuals.
Okay. Well, we're not really politically correct here, so, but
I
it is.
but
But I mean, it's
I'm not youth.
right. But it was designed around that. Same with Seminole. It was designed in 260 Remington. It was designed for youth and women. That's what it was designed for. But again, there's nothing wrong with those
No.
cartridges. They kill deer as long as you put it in the right spot. But
Speaking of,
the recoil on those is far less than
and
that
that's
of
why I liked it,
a 308.
especially for my first.
Right.
And that, my first time sitting alone
Yep.
on some friend's property,
Yep.
I was given 3 bullets. 1, 2, 3. I was sitting alone in the shooting house, and you were sitting in another one, but then you had to leave to go pick up.
Ryder.
No, they're both boys. You picked them up from daycare and from, anyway, because the pictures have both. You had gone and gotten the boys, and I'm sitting there, and 2 deer walk out.
Well, I hadn't even made it off the property yet for the first one.
So I have 3 bullets. 1 is in my rifle. And there are 2 deer. Perspective has been not perfected. But it's better. It's improved upon. However, took a shot. That deer dropped.
Yep.
So I text Pat and I'm freaking out. Like, I got one. Like, what? The other deer obviously ran. And then Pat gets a text from our friends who own the property and said, hey, I think Kelley shot, right?
Yeah, well, he had said, he said Kelley shot once, but I think she shot again.
No. So I told you then that I got one. And then you said to sit and wait. And I was like, no, I don't want to. But I sat and waited. And then the other one came back out. And I thought, this is it. Like, yeah, I have 3 bullets. I don't know anything about nothing about limits. Now, I will say, the limits at the time were 2 bucks for the season and 1 doe a day.
No, it was a buck and a doe a day at the time.
No, but it was 2 total. 2 bucks total.
No. Back then it was a buck and a doe a day. It just recently changed.
But now it's 3.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever.
Season.
So I dropped one. The other one came back out. And I'm like, well, I got 2 bullets left. So I took another shot and dropped the other deer.
Yeah.
And texted Pat and said, I got the other one. And he texted back and said, like, no, you didn't. Are you kidding me? And I said, no, I really got it. And he said, you didn't really take another shot, did you? And I was like, yeah. And then he got a text saying, I think Kelley took another, I don't know. Yeah. He's like berating me over text message about taking these shots. And he's like, why the hell would you shoot another deer? You gave me 3 bullets. What was I going to do? Like, what did you, he said, I gave you 3 in case you missed. And I thought, enter expletive here. Why would you think I would miss? Like, you gave me 3. I thought I could take 3. Like,
yeah, no, that's not how that works.
No, I know now, but there was no explanation at and there wasn't when I would sit with you previously. I wasn't really. I was watching and kind of saw what you did, but there was no explanation about how limits were and what the regulations really were. So in my head, you gave me 3. If I saw 3, and if I thought if I did miss, yeah, I have extra. But if I didn't, you gave me 3, man. Like,
yeah, yeah, that's on me. I mean, it's on me, but
it is on you. Like,
but you also did pass your hunter's education course, which they talk about that stuff.
I mean, like they do, but the regulations change every season, or can change every season. And at the time, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything illegal, though. One was a buck and one was a doe. So, like, I'm fine. However, what happened is
Yeah, that was,
I did drop them both,
you did.
and they were tender.
They
And
were
that's all we're going to say.
very tender. But again, that was, 243.
Hmm.
Both of them.
Oh, yeah, all that to say.
Yeah,
It was a youth gun.
it was a youth gun. Yep. Recoil sensitive gun. We'll go there. How about that?
Okay.
Does that work for you?
No,
Okay.
because I know what you mean, but it's fine.
But again, if you're running, that's all those ones that I've been talking about have been, you know, 200 yard and under guns, which is fine. That's all we're shooting here in Alabama, really.
Well, and for
I've been
me, as a new, I wasn't shooting.
right, and most new folks aren't going to be shooting that far anyway, unless unless they're gung ho about it and they get out and actually train and shoot their rifle and learn how it does at different distances. That's So the one thing to remember, and this is kind of about every gun too, though, is you want to find one if you're new and you're looking for a gun, whether it be a handgun or a rifle or a shotgun. You want to find one that fits you and feels good to you. If it doesn't feel good to you, you're not going to shoot it as much. You're not going to learn that rifle as much, and you're not going to be as proficient with that rifle or handgun or whatever it is you're shooting. So always make sure as you're picking one out. There are a million options out there, and don't let anybody. Um, if you have one in mind, feel it out, check it out, and compare it. Compare it to other ones. Compare brands. Some brands are good. Some brands are great. Some brands are crap. And I hate to say it like that, but there are just some brands that you want to stay away from. Um, if you can find a good combo, I'd recommend the Savage. We've got a couple Savages that we've gotten for the boys and for you. And as far as like a combo goes, they're fantastic. They're very accurate. And the aftermarket out there for them is great. There are so many different stocks you can put in these things so you can upgrade it along the way. Uh, the Remington 700 platform, there's so many variants of it out there. The Bagaras, Christensen, just to name a few. And Remington, Remco, I guess is what it's called now, since they got bought or filed for bankruptcy and then got bought by by some investment firm. So they had to change the name to Remco, but they still are able to use Remington. It just can't be the Remington company. Yeah, it's crazy. But with all that to say, find one that fits you. Look at Ruger, the American brand rifle. Ruger American brand is fantastic. They've got youth models that are shortened stocks. Um, is that okay to say? Youth model. But they've got some with shorter stocks. They've got some in all kind of different rifle calibers, depending on what you're wanting to do. The I wanted to talk about some of the new cartridges too, to kind of go along with some of the classics.
Before we go into that, there is some controversy with my Christensen.
Why? What's wrong with your Christensen?
Well, don't people say that you can't really take a deer with it?
Oh, you're talking about the caliber
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
the 6.5?
Not my, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to get into that too.
Okay.
So the 6.5 has a lot of negative reviews online, and I think that really boils down to shooter ability. And I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but I don't even care, because if every deer you shoot with a 6.5 runs off, you might want to think about where your shot placement is, because that has a lot to do with it. Now, Kelley has not had one run off.
Ever.
Yeah, ever. 243 or 6.5. And the bulk of hers have come from the 6.5. I've never had one run off with a 6.5. And I can name countless other folks that know how to shoot that haven't had their deer run off. Before we start bad mouthing, one, just calibers in general, every year I try and take a deer with a 223. And the only reason I do that is because there's so many people that sit there and go, you can't. Yeah, you can, because I do it every year. It's all about shot placement. And I'm not shooting them in the head and dropping them. I'm shooting them in the heart, and they're stopping.
I don't want to shoot him in the head. I don't want to shoot him in the head.
Well, I mean,
especially if it's a buck, because
well, you're not going to shoot a buck in the head. I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that doe that comes out and stomps at you and just makes you mad, and she's like, I'm about to tell everybody.
Yeah, no.
And she starts blowing.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah. So, but 6.5, I like a 6.5. It's not a heavy recoil gun. It's a very adaptive gun. You can shoot it, 100, 200 yards and drop a deer. You can shoot it 500 and 600 yards and drop a deer. I mean, it's just, there's guys that are, my old boss, he was shooting 6.5 at elk. And, I think his elk took 10 steps and fell over. I mean, come on.
Not a lot of steps for a big old.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing, like, it's all about shot placement. And that just means that if you're not making that shot and your deer running, you might need to get at the range. And you might need, one, you need to learn distance. And two, you need to know how your gun's going to do at every distance.
Yeah.
Because.
Well, and it's not a bad thing if they run. They will, if they're dropping.
Right. But, I mean, when you're having dogs chase them for 5 miles, I mean, you made a bad shot. I'm sorry. Nobody's going to tell you. I'm going to tell you because I don't really care. I know my deer are dropping, and I know my shot placement's right, and I know your deer and Ryder as well. Ryder, even with that 350 Legend, his ran maybe 40 yards, 50 yards into the woods, and then crumpled up and his shot was perfect. I mean,
how big was? Because that was my deer, but I couldn't get a good shot.
Yeah.
With my Christensen because of Jace's placement in the shooting.
Right.
So I didn't take it.
Right.
Because I knew I couldn't.
And that's another aspect of it too. If you are just uncomfortable positioning yourself on a deer, you're probably not going to make the best shot. And it's probably better not to take the shot. Just because you go to the woods doesn't mean you have to pull the trigger. I mean, no. I have let some of your walk just because I haven't had a good angle on them. I haven't felt like I was going to be able to make a good shot on them. I just let them walk. It is what it is. I mean,
and I think hunting. I mean, there is something about getting, and we'll talk to Danielle when she comes in, getting the buck that you've watched,
right,
and being able to fill the freezer. But there's also just a peace about being out there, and to be like, I love my kids, but being away from them.
Right.
And I love you, but being away from you.
Yeah.
And while it's something we both enjoy, I don't sit with you.
No.
I don't.
And we haven't sat together in a shooting house in a long time.
Yeah. And I don't want to because I don't want to.
You're afraid I'm going to take the deer you're looking at.
Yeah, or I'm going to take. And I don't want to go home with the bigger deer that I took from you and you're salty about it.
I'm not salty about any of these because I'm just happy that y'all. But, I mean, it's the same thing with that buck that came out with Ryder.
Yeah, you let him take it and you took the doe.
He's going to take it. I mean, that's just the whole thing about it. I want y'all to experience everything that I've been able to experience. I mean.
Well, and, that Luke Combs song that I let you listen to about hunting alone again. Like, these are memories we're making with them.
Right.
And had Jace been awake, I would have set him up for that big buck.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of the 6-point that he got that day.
Right.
But I don't. Yes, I do get frustrated when I don't see anything worth taking, or I do, but not to the point where it ruins my day. Because just being out there, away from work, away from stress, away from
life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And being able, sometimes just, I won't, if there's a small fawn with a mom, I won't, because,
I
mean, it hurts my heart. I enjoy watching Bambi and his mom play together.
Right.
And sometimes just watching They're so graceful. I don't understand it. How squirrels can be so heavy-footed.
Right.
But it's just about being out there and in God's creation
Yeah.
and experiencing the peace that He can put out with that.
Right.
And I don't have to take something every time.
No, you don't. I mean, so it's called hunting and not killing
Or catching.
or catching.
Catching deer.
But some of these new cartridges, I've gotten in on some of them just because they're very interesting to me, and especially having young kids, being able to let them shoot a rifle. You know, Jace is really small, so for him, um, I'm building a 6 millimeter arc, which is basically it's a 243 bullet in a 6.5 Grendel case. It's just been necked down. There's very little recoil, and the ability for that little round is awesome. Anywhere from 100 yards to 500 yards, I feel like you could make a very clean kill shot. Now, of course, I'm not going to let Chase take a 500-yard shot, right? But we don't have anywhere to shoot that far anyway. So, but because it's so light on the recoil, and I can build it in an AR platform to where I can make that stock super short. And that's something to consider too. If you have, or if you're small in stature, short arms, youth, women, whatever, an AR platform is super, super versatile for you as a hunter because
An AR?
an AR platform.
Oh.
Yep. So, like with that one, I'd like to take that and put a different barrel on it.
Nope.
And then
The only thing that I want we've seen them where they're like laser engraved with I want rose cutouts.
Okay. That's expensive, so.
Start selling feet pictures.
Yeah, right. But, doing that caliber, or even a 6.5 Grendel, that's another new one. I've got a couple of those rifles. The recoil, man, it's just so nice to go out there and not have the recoil. I mean, your follow up, keeping your optic on target, being able to see that. I mean, and then running them suppressed has also been a humongous help. But the AR platform is a very versatile platform. It's not just for defense or offense. It's changed.
It's not just an assault rifle.
Well, I didn't want to go there because it's not an assault rifle.
It's not an assault rifle. There is no assault rifle.
Right. I mean,
I have an assault bat.
I got an assault hammer. I mean, come on. But you can do so much out of that little platform. I mean, the 6.5 Grendel, like I was saying, the 6 millimeter arc, and the 350 Legend. Those are three that I've adapted into this house because the 350 Legend is basically a straight wall cartridge. It was designed for guys shooting and hunting up north who are only allowed to hunt with those straight wall cartridges. But it's really good for youth because you're getting a 35 caliber bullet, heavy grain bullet, typically 180 grains, in an AR platform, which is really nice. The 300 Blackout's good too. Ryder's been hunting with that for a couple of years, but that one we only shoot like 130 grain bullets out of it. Supersonic bullets, not subsonic, because I don't feel like hunting with subsonic rounds is ethical, especially if you have one any kind of distance. It's just not going to penetrate the way it needs to. But all that to say that in the AR platform, you can run those rounds, and it fits younger kids who might be a little bit smaller, and then adults that just want to change it up from the 5.56 or 2.23. Something to really consider because the versatility of that rifle is just amazing. But with all these new Wildcat cartridges coming out, again, I'm not huge on them. There's certain ones that I've adapted. Again, the 6 millimeter arc, the 6.5 Grendel, the 350 Legend. more those were more for my kids and me, just to kind of have fun with and learn and try them out. It's an easy swap over, and just to be able to see what those can do, it's amazing. But again, Alabama, it just depends on what you're doing. If you're stand hunting, which is what we're doing, those are all fantastic. I think I think the 350 Legend would be really well for stock hunting. Um, for anybody who's wanting to try one out, it's a lot like a 30-30 as far as power, and I think that you would really enjoy it. You'd be able to get a little bit more rounds out of it than you would your 30-30. So with all that being said, I mean, none of those rounds are a bad round, and you will be able to hunt anything in Alabama with any of those that we've discussed so far, and all of them. I mean, if you're looking for that light recoil, again, 6 millimeter arc, 243, 708, 65 Creedmoor, really none of those have a really bad recoil. 308 isn't bad either, but a 308, if you're wanting to get into it, I think that, and you don't have a sensitivity to recoil, 308 would be fantastic, especially if you're stand hunting. So, what I would ask is, I want to see what y'all are hunting with. Shoot us some pictures to our Instagram or Facebook or YouTube.
Or and we have a TikTok,
And we have a TikTok.
and
Yeah.
we're trying to grow that, but we're live on mine, which is, and you can shoot me a message too. Um, but everything else is Beyond the Blind podcast.
Yep.
My TikTok is Southern Fried FRYD Sunshine. So
Yeah. So shoot us some pictures. I want to see some of the deer y'all have killed this year. Especially the guys out there that are hunting with the 6.5. I really want to point that out, that
we can drop them.
you can drop them with a 6.5. But please, we would love to see pictures of you and your kids hunting together. We want to see, let's see the game that y'all have killed this year. Well, and it doesn't have to be deer. It can be ducks. It can be hogs. Whatever. But shoot us some messages on Facebook or Instagram or any of the social media links. We'd love to see them. And if y'all have questions or comments or concerns, reach out to us. I have been in this industry for a very long time. I'd love to talk to you. If you have questions, if you're a new shooter, new hunter, whatever, if you're looking for a handgun, I don't sell them anymore, but I'll be more than happy to help you decide what you're wanting to get.
And I'll say, you've been out of it for almost a year.
Almost a year, yeah.
Next month. In like 15 days. Pat misses talking about it.
I do.
We're so thankful, and we love the job that you have now, but you miss.
Oh yeah, and that I got guys that call me every once in a while and they say, "Hey man, I know you don't do it anymore, but I really have a question." And I don't stop my work, but I'll be like, "Hey, let me call you after work. We'll talk about it." And I'll be on the phone for an hour talking about different silencers or different gun applications, whatever they're wanting to do.
I do wish you were still in it, because that Sig Rose M400.
Yep. Yep.
I'm so excited to get her though. It's I don't know that it's limited edition, but
well, I need Jake. Jake, if you're listening to this, I need your help here. She needs all the Rose stuff.
I'm willing to pay. Yeah. I'll give you Pat's credit card number.
You ain't getting much.
I'll open another credit card in Pat's name.
But if you have questions, reach out. I'd love for you to have a good experience in the hunting industry. And if you just can't find somebody that'll help you, you've got people that will. So, well, guys, I think that's going to wrap up our episode for tonight. Again, please give us some likes, give us some feedback. We love you guys. Follow us everywhere if you can. We're trying to make this thing big, and I'm hoping that this was a little bit better. We had a little bit more of a structure with this one. In the next two coming up, we have some really good structure,
This
and
one will still fly by the seat of our pants.
this one was fly by the seat of
And
the pants.
honestly, the last two have been chaos because, and really yours have been stressful, but my life has been chaos.
Yeah, it is. It's been chaos, but we appreciate y'all giving us the listens that you do. We see it in the numbers; they're going up, and we certainly do appreciate y'all. Again, thank y'all, and have a blessed night.